चलो शरारत क्यों कर रहे हैं?
नहीं बैग निकालो।
चलो चलो चल भैया।
वैसे छोटे फुफ्फू के पास है, एक खोलना पड़ता है ये बाजू को, फिर देखना होता है वो छोटे घर में था।
चल बड़ा पैसा निकाल $3 पार्किंग का।
पार्क बहुत दूर है, अंदर कितना दूर है?
अब नहीं पलटा सकते भाई, वहाँ छोड़ेगा तेरे को। मैं वहाँ जा, सामने वहीं जाना है। तो कैसा पलटा मैं?
पूछो इधर। रोक रोक रोक।
अरे बाप, जहाँ पैसे पूछ रहा बचा लेना भाई। पैसे इधर ना सा स्टेशन है। अच्छा पहले घूम के लिए पूरा।
बैटरी कितना है? ये 155 मिनट्स है।
बहुत है भाई तेरे लिए।
अच्छा हुआ चार्ज करके रखा हूँ पहले ही।
चल तेरे को फुल सर्विस दिया मैं पूरा। चल ये सामने टिकट ले ले, अंदर चले जाओ।
Keep in mind that this is not a museum or a theme park. What you're about to see is not a show. It's the real stuff. When you get back to Space Center Houston, you might also want to take the other tour of JSC. Now, it will take you to some of the exciting astronaut training facilities and laboratories here. Many of you probably remember the mission controls you've seen on TV. Here at JSC, we call it the MOCR, and it stands for Mission Operations Control Room. The MOCR was built during the Gemini era in the early 60s, but today, you're going to get a special glimpse into our future, the next generation of control centers. We're headed to Mission Control, and we'll visit the Kicker, where shuttle flights control from. The Kicker is in a new wing of the same building and just down the hall from the MOCR. One of history's most exciting memories at the MOCR was in 1969 when Neil Armstrong reported from the moon. It was man's first communication from another world. The Apollo missions were sent on their way to the moon by Saturn V rockets, like the one up ahead. It's the largest rocket ever made, 363 feet long. Now, to give you a comparison, a football field is 300 feet long. It's about as high as a 35-story building. That's big. Well, it had to be. The fueled rocket and equipment together weighed over 6 million pounds at liftoff. The rocket had to be powerful enough to lift all that weight into space. We'll be stopping at Rocket Park on a return trip, so that you can get off and take a closer look at the Saturn V and the other launch vehicles here.
And again, just a friendly reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we must remain seated while the tram is in motion. Thank you so much.
Actually, you're watching history unfold right here today. Over the next several decades, when you see or hear news about the progress of the shuttle and space station, remember that you were one of the very first to visit the actual place from which all their activities are controlled. The Kicker at the Mission Control Center. MCC is the third generation in a series of control centers used by our space program. The first was the Mercury Control Center at Cape Canaveral, Florida, during the very early days of some of the International Space Station. Remember what I said about the famous MOCR being built in the early 60s? After serving the space program for 30 years through the Gemini, Apollo, Space Lab, and early shuttle programs, it's now become a national landmark. It was upgraded and revised several times, but was finally decommissioned in 1996 after final tests were completed on the new mission control. NASA realized that for space station operations, a new, more flexible control center would have to be built. So, instead of creating a center just for space station, They could save money and make control center operations more efficient by combining the two control centers. The Mission Control Center you're visiting today is the result of that big step. The Looker was custom built for Gemini and Apollo. Everything from the computers to the desks were created just for the Looker. In contrast, the Lightning Mission Control Center uses commercial, off-the-shelf equipment. Now, what does that mean? Well, a lot of the equipment you see today is the basic software used in industry and other applications and is purchased directly from the commercial suppliers.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as we pass building 45 here on the left, now look over to the left beyond 45. You'll see a building over there with no windows. That's our first stop. We call that 30 South or Mission Control. Mission Control does have 54 steps to climb to get up to the viewing area. Now, if you're not able to climb those steps, that's not a problem. After we've gone through security, just meet up with our driver, Dan, and he'll be happy to operate the elevator and bring you up to Mission Control. We ask that our guests do not operate the elevators on the Johnson Space Center campus. Also, a reminder that when we do go inside, we will...
By using you don't want vision to be a spacefaring nation. The first step toward that was the development of a reusable space vehicle, the Space Shuttle. Ultimately, we will return to the moon, explore Mars, and even points beyond it. Not only will we be able to explore space, but we can also utilize the resources of space for the benefit of humanity. The space station will have a constantly changing menu of research projects. Scientists aboard the orbiting laboratory will study, for example, the production of life-saving medicines in microgravity and the growth of pure crystals for medical and industrial applications. Another important goal is to perhaps find solutions to problems like global warming. Under 20 degrees below zero, and that's cold. When these tanks are being filled, frost forms on the outside of the nozzle, even in the hot Houston summer. These particular tanks belong to Cecil, spelled S-E-S-L. Cecil stands for Space Environment Simulation Laboratory. Cecil uses liquid oxygen to simulate the cold of space when testing spacecraft and space components in the facility's large vacuum chambers. If you drank a glass of water earlier today, or if you checked the local weather forecast, or made a long-distance phone call, or maybe watched the international news, you'll appreciate what's coming up on the left. It's called the antenna farm. These storm alerts providing data for agricultural inventory, wildlife preservation, and freshwater sources. Those particular antennas send and receive telemetry and voice communications between mission control and orbiting spacecraft to satellites that are parked in orbit some 22,300 miles above the Earth.
And these are the satellite dishes to the left here that do communicate with outer space. Dan is bringing us to our second stop, the building to the right here, the Space Vehicle Mock-Up Facility, or Building 9 as we call it here. Once again, please remain seated till the tram does come to a full stop. Wait for those air brakes to pop and set. Monitors here. If there are any small children in the back, put them up front so they can see and hear the video as well.
The crew quarters are a lot like homes. There are individual sleeping cabins, a kitchen complete with a microwave, refrigerator, freezer, and a dining room table. There's also a bathroom and a shower. The crew will work in state-of-the-art labs powered by almost an acre of solar panels. There are laboratories from the U.S., Japan, and Europe here. Russia will have laboratories as well. Research on the station may bring advances from medicine, industry, and basic sciences. Studying how to live and work in space for months at a time will help us one day go far beyond the Earth orbit, perhaps onto Mars. Just a few feet away from the space station modules, astronauts practice maneuvering objects and themselves in a partial imitation of weightlessness. An air-bearing floor works like an air hockey table, allowing objects to slide over and imitating zero gravity in 2 dimensions. On this floor, astronauts can practice some of the types of things they will do during the many spacewalks that will put the space station together. As you move toward the back of the building, you'll see several full-size space shuttle replicas and a working model of the shuttle's mechanical arm. These shuttle mock-ups are used in a lot of different ways for training. The full fuselage trainer is the same size as a real shuttle without wings. Astronauts use it to study how experiments will be stored and used in the cabin and payload bay. The 2 crew compartment trainers include only the nose and shuttle cabin. Inside, though, they're very realistic. Astronauts practice everything from suiting up for launch and landing to cooking food. The trainers can even tilt up so that the crew can practice sitting on the launch pad waiting for liftoff. Next, you'll see the working model of the shuttle's mechanical arm. We call it the Manipulator Development Facility. Astronauts use this arm to practice moving objects the way they plan to in space. Lightweight mock-ups of actual payloads like these large helium-filled balloons serve as stand-ins for weightless satellites or station modules in orbit. Soon, a model of a brand new space station arm will be here too. As you can see, this lab is a busy place. Enjoy your visit, and remember, when you see astronauts in orbit building the station or flying the space shuttle, you saw it here first, where we're training for an exciting new era in space exploration.
You said my shirt is too long.
And again, a reminder as we enter the observational platform, please keep coming this way and form a couple of lines, taller people in the back, shorter in front, so we can get our entire group in. Thank you so much.
Mommy, take a picture. He's coming. Take a picture.
Thank you very much, Deb. In Spot Destiny, I'd like to show you the configuration of the space station as it is in space. To the left of Destiny, you'll see a module called Unity. And then to the left of Unity, you'll see this white module called Zarya, which is the Russian word for sunrise. And then to the left of that, in front of me here, is the one called Zvezda, which is the Russian word for star. Now
Now, Zvezda, the service module, is the living quarters for the astronauts, although they can travel for all 4 units. The Zarya is the attitude control module. Unity, you'll see, is a joiner. It has many places to put other modules onto it. And Destiny is the research module. In the future, there will be such research in space as the study of diabetes, cancer, and materials for industry, all done in space. Directly in front of us here is this gray module, the one that looks like it has a little tire on top. That's not a tire, that's a connecting device. This gray module here is a real Russian Soyuz. This is the lifeboat for the astronauts.